Hello guys, welcome back to my video. So today we're gonna be checking out Console Engine again. It's been over a year since the last time checked out Console Engine. So many updates have been released to this engine. So let me give you a reminder of what Console Engine is. Basically it's a game engine I made using using the console application format. So basically each pixel inside the game is a character on the screen. Today I'm gonna show you how to make a player again, because the way you do it now is better. Now there is an actual game object instead of just pixels. So let's start by creating the player. So we create a variable here, public. Type in public static int, and then type the name. I'm gonna name it player ID object, or object ID, better, object ID. Now this the game object in the console engine needs a variable ID here, so that we can get the game object, because we can't get the game object directly. We need the ID first. So now when the game starts, it needs to initialize the player. So we do player object ID equal, we do engine dot create game object and no texture. There are two methods. One is the normal version, and this one no textures, meaning that you can create the game object without the texture. It's useful when you don't have any texture available. It's just an empty texture. I mean, nothing will be drawn on the screen. Now we give it a coordinate on the screen. I'm gonna give it 10 x and 10 in the y. We turn on the collision, yes, of course. The collision width, I'm gonna also set to 10 and 10. Delete overlap, we don't need that, so false. Pushable to true, meaning that the player can be pushed. I'm gonna leave this at 0. Collide with bound, I need that to be true so that the player can collide with the screen edge or with the Windows edge. And draw debug collision, I'm gonna set that to true so that we can actually see the player. Now we did this, we go open this, we open Consyl, just start this, and let's see. There's a box. Yes, that's the box is the debug visualization for the player's collision. Let me modify something here. This is its location x and y, and this is the width and height for the collision box. So I'm gonna set this like a height of 5, and now if I play and full screen, this becomes like this. This is the collision. So now let me try to let me revert this to 10 or something like that, and now let's give it player input. So just like last time in the old console tutorial, we create an if statements. We do keyboard dot is key pressed, and we do key dot or dot and give it like W to go up. So in order to use the game object or modify anything in it, we need to get it. Right now the variable stores an int. It doesn't store like a reference to game object. So what you're gonna do is you type in engine dot and do get game object by ID. So just give it the ID of the game object we're dealing with here. Now we can access it. There is actually a function I created here that would help instead of just manually changing the speed. Here, add velocity. This basically adds velocity to the player. When you press W, it slowly speeds up, and we see over here it requires a vector 2. So I type in new vector 2. This creates a vector. Give it like this. For the X, I'm gonna leave it 0, and the Y, I'm gonna type in -1. So when I play right now, console engine, If I press W, it goes up. See, it stops right there because I made it collide with the bounds. As you can see here, when we create the game object, the collide with bounds, I set it to true. The default is false. If we set this to true, it will collide with the Windows edge. I mean, I don't mean by Microsoft Windows edge. I mean the literal edge of a window. So we do again. Keyboard is key pressed, and do key S. This will go the other direction. I'm just gonna copy all that, the same thing, paste it here, make it positive. It goes the other direction now. Can go forward and backward. See, it goes forward, then now backwards. See, as you can see, it goes really fast. You can like reduce it, like you can do 0.1. Wait, I forgot to put F. It's a float, right? So I'm gonna put F, and here is 0.1 F. Press F5 again to play. As you can see now, it moves slowly from the beginning, but then speeds up. In the game object over here, there is like a friction over here. The default is 0.1. The reason it wasn't speeding up slowly over time, because the friction and the speed is the same. See, 0.1. If I like change it to 0.2, it will speed up. Let me remove this over here. I press this. Now it speeds up. You can modify the friction to whatever number you like. So let's copy the code we made before, both of them. Paste it here. Now this is gonna be the sideways movement. A and D. I'm gonna move this to the x-axis. It's over here like that. Just flip the numbers like that. Now if I play, I can move sideways. I can move like this diagonal too. Now we have a controllable player. You could also enable gravity. I'm gonna show you right now. In the player object over here, we do engine.get game object again. Player object ID dot and has gravity. Right now the default is false, so I'm gonna try to enable the gravity. If I play, see the player falls down. I can't go up now because the gravity is too strong. I can do this. When I press W, it launches the player like in a strong force like this. Give it like a -1. It's way stronger. But the player will constantly try to fall down. Now you have like a platform thing over here. Can make I don't know, Super Mario 2.0. Now we have this. You could use the texture object to create a texture over here. The texture, like I don't know, it will be the player's texture, and you can hide the collision box over here by disabling this, setting the last boolean over here to false. Now if I play it, it won't show anything. We can't see anything. Oops, I can close it. Nothing at all. Let me put it back to true. Now I've made the input over here. Let me show you more stuff in the game object. Here are all the variables you can mess with. There is a value over here. It's called isPushable. This will allow the game objects to be moved and pushed around. Let me create another object over here. I'm going to call it obj1 like this, and me create another one over here. obj1 is equal to engine.create game object no texture. Right now I don't have any texture, so let's ignore that. Give it like, I don't know, 2020 like that. Collision enables true. Collision width, I'm gonna give it, yes, 10 is good. This The detect overlap is basically just like a trigger for trigger boxes, so that when the player anything touches it, it causes a trigger thingy. Now it's pushable. I'm gonna set this to true so I could show you. And the collision offset, let's leave it all to 0. Collide with bounds, we do it true so that we can actually set this to true so that it won't fall off the map. And set the debug collision to true. Now let's enable its gravity. Let me copy this, paste it over here, change the player object ID to obj1, and now there will be another box. This is the player, the one next to it, this one. We can go to that and push it around like this. You can also like move it around like this. You can slide it across the wall like this. As you can see, I actually accidentally cornered it. Yes, now I went to the other side. Pretty nice. Let me disable, like comment out the gravity thing. You can leave it at like 0 gravity, and you can just push it around like this. So basically that's how you create a player. Basically just give it like create an object, give it make it have collision and gravity using this, and then after you create the object, you just create the input, is key pressed, and choose W, and just add the velocity by this much, or whatever amount you like. You could also create a speed. You could also create a speed variable that stores the speed and just place it here. Also, the negative should stay. Actually, when you place the variable, the negative should stay. Like if you want speed, you type here negative speed, and here is positive speed, like that. Same thing. Let me just do this now. Now we create a new variable and give it like a speed of 0.2, the same thing as before. And when I play it, nothing changes, but it makes programming a lot easier. Now that we finished everything related to creating a player, I'm gonna show you all the other new features that I've added since the last time. Right now there's also raycasting, 2D raycasting. As you can see here, there is like a huge function. Basically fires an invisible line and detects what game object it hit. That's basically how it works. Also, a long time ago, I made a raycaster. I used the raycast 2D that I created to make a raycasting game. As you can see, there's like the map. That's how the player moves around. Right now, it's just a demo to show you the capabilities of Console engine. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys learned something, and I want to see what you guys could make with this engine. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.